to represent Mr. Weasel. I'm proud to represent Mr. Weasel because he is a hero. Faced with a near constant erosion of privacy on social networks like MyTwitFace, he left that company and he created Vaporospora, a nonprofit, peer-to-peer, open source, privacy-protective, full-featured social network at no cost to the user. Weasel only wished to compete with MyTwitFace in the marketplace of ideas. But the marketplace of ideas is nothing if the public is kept in the dark about the truth about MyTwitFace. And that is the motive that you will see. The motive that Mr. Weasel had was to inform the public about the truth, and so they could see what Mr. Zuckerson has been up to, what he was planning with MyTwitFace, and understand why they should question whether they should be on MyTwitFace. But Mr. Zuckerman couldn't handle that truth. He saw Mr. Weasel as a threat. And today you will hear the story of overzealous goon squad sent to kick down door after door in an effort to track down Mr. Weasel because they didn't like a news story that exposed the truth. Under pressure from the company, the government trumped up whatever charges it could, but these charges, you will find, are no good. First, they try and shoehorn a silent video taken of a plot underway at Mr. Zuckerman's house. And they try and shoehorn that into a statute that was designed for the interception of phone calls. You will listen closely as the government witnesses testify, and you will hear nothing about any sound that was captured. And if the sound did not transmit, you must acquit. Nor is the government's case for the captured screenshots, the interception of communications charge. This is not any better, because these are federal laws. We are being prosecuted here by the United States of America, and the United States of America has to limit itself to interstate activities. They must involve a system that affects interstate or foreign commerce. What matters is the point of capture. It's not relevant whether or not the instant messages that were found, exposed, and brought to the world through the newspaper article were eventually, or at some point, transmitted over the internet. At the point of capture, when the screen grab took place, they were just in between the video buffer and the hard drive. It was inside the computer. The evidence will show that there was no transfer from one state to another, no international transfer, nothing going on like that at the point of capture of that information. Finally, they took at what at best might be a misdemeanor charge of computer intrusion and trumped up a felony charge by the ludicrous theory that Mr. Weasel had a financial motive, that he was doing this for his own personal gain. But Mr. Weasel, he takes no salary. He has no possibility in selling any shares of this nonprofit open source project. He is a volunteer who spends his time, day in and day out, freely giving his expertise in coding to a project. Sure, Vaporospora may have gotten some more users as a result of this, but that was because people realized the truth about MyTwitFace and they made their choice to go to a more privacy protective service. This is not a financial gain to Mr. Weasel. It is a privacy gain to the users. And without a financial motive, without that private financial gain, you must acquit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otsall. Mr. Ohm, you may call your first witness.
The government calls Biz Zuckerson to the stand, please.
Mr. Zuckerson, will you please raise your left hand? Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Ohm?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Zuckerson, Good to see you. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm fine, thank you.
Could you please state your name and title for the jury?
Yes, I'm Biz Zuckerman. I'm the founder and the president and the CEO of the world's largest and most successful social network, MyTwitFace.
Yes, and I'm well aware of MyTwitFace. Can you please tell the jury a little bit more about MyTwitFace?
It's, well, other than fire, it's probably the next best thing that humanity has received as a gift. It's safe, it's respectful, it's an online environment that helps you connect with people, with heart to heart and brain to brain, sharing with friends and families and colleagues and lovers and ex-lovers and haters and friendly rivals and rivals' friends and anyone you want, really. Practically every American and many more have a MyTwitFace profile now. We have almost 500 million members worldwide.
And so just so the jury understands, this is a lot like Facebook, right?
Yeah, like Mars is like Uranus. No, absolutely not. Or perhaps, if it is at all, it's very superficially so. I'm proud to say MyTwitFace takes the best features of our competitors, of course, and improves upon them with advanced privacy features. We have the best privacy policy in the business, so you know that anything you share on MyTwitFace is only shared when you choose and to whom you choose. I don't want to brag. I'm not grandiose or anything, you know, but we are the preeminent social utility of the 21st century. And part of the reason is we understand and we respect you, the user, and your need for privacy in a way that something like Facebook never will.
So let's talk about what brought you to found this. Why and how did you create the story? Just tell us the story of MyTwitFace.
Because there was a vacuum in the human mind space, and I perceived that I was one of the only ones on the planet who could fill it. I was personally offended. You know, this really isn't difficult for me. I was personally offended and very disappointed by how shoddy the other services were. I knew we could do better. No one had the intellect, the unmatched understanding of the needs of the online consumer that I bring to this space.
And how's the company been doing?
Oh, incredibly well. It had been doing incredibly well. Thanks to my work, I work 24/7 to make it one of the greatest utilities humans have ever had opportunity to use. And thanks to my endless appearances in the media, I've been on every digital and print media form imaginable. They chase me through the hallways wanting interviews to sing the praises of this unique and unmatchable service and explain our superiority. Our growth is phenomenal. Before this incident with Mr. Weasel, we had reached our 500 millionth user.
So let's turn to this incident to which you refer, and I want to take you back to January 25th, earlier this year. How did that day start out for you?
Not very well. I woke up and I still get a morning paper. It's a print thing that they bring to your door, and I saw this awful, slanderous story about me and my business, and it used information, distorted it, that was clearly taken from my own computer without my knowledge.
So, Mr. Zuckerson, if you will, please look at the fake pile of exhibits in front of you.
Yes.
And turn to Exhibit 1.
Okay.
Do you recognize what's in front of you?
I certainly do.
And what is that? Can you identify that for the jury?
It's an article about MyTwitFace and myself.
And so this is the article that we were talking about a second ago that you read on January 25th.
That is correct. Thank you, sir.
And if it's not, oh, Your Honor, the government would like to admit the newspaper article as Exhibit 1 and publish it to the jury.
Any objection, defense? No objection. It's admitted.
So, Mr. Zuckerson, if it's not too painful to have you relive this, could you please read some of the story for the jury?
MyTwitFace, the world's most popular social networking site, has been revealed to have pursued a shocking surveillance agenda. This is disgusting. Against its users, despite CEO Biz Zuckerson's assurance that user privacy is of paramount importance to the company. In an exclusive anonymous disclosure, FUD News has learned that MyTwitFace has mined information from users while encouraging them to reveal personal details under the false assurance that the information would remain private, much like a cattle farmer cultivates his herd. Zuckerson's nefarious plot was revealed in an exclusive video obtained from one of the sordid parties held at his palatial estate. They're not sordid. These parties regularly attended by influential power brokers like Oprah, Bill Clinton, George Clooney, Lady Gaga, and Justin Bieber. were actually meetings to advance an agenda designed to control world events through social and entertainment media. The evil plot was revealed in a video that was exclusively obtained by FUD News and shows a slide presentation with details of the plan. The details and breadth of this plot are shocking. This is just, I can't even read this crap. Do I have to keep reading?
No, I understand. I think the jury has a feel for the story, and it will be in their exhibit book back in the jury room. But you did mention in an earlier answer that from reading the entire story, you believe that some things were taken from your computer. Can you tell me what you think was taken?
Yeah, there were three things. First, an IM chat with an old friend of mine in Alaska, a presentation slide deck that I showed to friends at a party on my laptop, and the most shocking of all, videos of my friends at the party watching the presentation.
And could you please describe for the jury how you reacted to finding out about this story? How did you take the news?
I was incredibly upset. These journalistic vultures were taking my personal jokes with my friends and trying to call into question my integrity and the integrity of my Twitface, my company.
And I'm sorry, you are a very strong individual for getting through this. Thank you again for bearing with us. Let's now talk about what you did in reaction to the story. Did you react to the story? Did you try and take any steps because of it?
Absolutely. I'm a can-do sort of guy, and I immediately called head of security, Ms. Battelle, and demanded that she identify the leak by whatever means necessary. I didn't care if it took lie detectors or strip searches or reverse strip searches or video cameras in every corner of the office. Chinese water toucher, I didn't care. We had to find the leak and plug the leak. I told her if she had trouble coming up with the ideas, what to do, just call my buddy, Steve Jobs. He knows how to handle this kind of thing.
And did you call anybody else?
Yes, I called the CBI, the California Bureau of Investigation, and they sent Richard Stroker, an agent. But he came back within a few weeks, and he said he'd run into a brick wall. Well, that damn well wasn't good enough for me. I called my friends at Overreact instead. I knew they'd hop to it.
So Overreact, could you please explain what Overreact is?
Yes, I'm very proud of them. Overreact is Silicon Valley's preeminent high-tech law enforcement task force. It's a joint task force of U.S. law enforcement working in cooperation with technology companies like ours to crack down on high-tech crimes like these. You might have heard of REACT, the Rapid Enforcement Allied Computer Team. They got a lot of publicity in a case about Apple's new iPhone and a raid on a journalist's home. I thought they did a hell of a good job. Overreact is like React, but more. It's better, it's faster, it's smarter, and it's more ballsy. Being on their advisory board, I knew they'd get the job done. So when the FBI couldn't move fast enough, I knew it was time to overreact. I mean, to call overreact.
Please tell the jury about that call.
All right. On February 24th, I made the call. Next day, Richard Stroker contacted me and said he'd come right over to the office and talk to Ms. Battelle, our head of security. Things moved along pretty quickly at that point.
Thank you. I'm going to talk to Mr. Stroker later about the investigation itself. I want to just jump ahead past the investigation and just tell me about what the effect of the newspaper article has been in a long-term sense. What has it done to your company?
It has been awful. These are lies about how I disrespect my users' privacy, and as if I have some ill-defined plot to use their information to take over the world. They've been repeated in every news organ around the world. The reputation of my Twitface has been damaged irretrievably. We have already seen several million my Twitfacers leave my service. I assume for other social networks like this ridiculous Vaporaspora project.
Objection, speculative, and pardon the very loud microphone.
Well,